good. So we have a guest speaker. This is this dude right now. If you could see in the video, I know you're driving. Roan, can you say hello, Steve?
Hi, how old is?
Hi, Roan.
Mama.
Yeah, there's Mama. Yeah. What's up, Herb? How you doing, buddy?
Hello.
So guys, we last week we went over what was it? Dispo, right?
Yep.
Okay. So, Steve, I'm glad you're here because I actually wanted to ask you this question. What is something that you want to focus on today? What is one of your current challenges? Something you need some information on? What's something I can help with? And you, perfect timing because you're frozen now. And he's completely frozen.
I don't know if you can hear me.
There you are. You're back.
Yeah. Sorry, I heard you say, what is one of my current challenges?
Yeah. What's something you want to focus on? So we focused on Dispo last week. And this week I want to focus on doing a deep dive into something else that is currently, we don't hit the microphone, dude, that is currently questioning in your mind what you want to solve. Okay.
Okay.
Does anything come to mind?
I mean, unfortunately for me right now, I've been so swamped with my contracting work that I haven't actually been able to put much time at all into anything investing wise.
That's okay.
But one of the things that I'm really looking at is I figured out exactly how to go online and pull all the pre-foreclosure stuff for my county.
Okay, cool.
Right. And so I can pull all those lists and then just kind of go through and, what my thought is, I'm going to pull those, go through and basically check and see, because like if somebody has like no equity, it's kind of, it seems less fruitful, not fruitless, but it seems less fruitful than somebody who's maybe like 50% equity. They just maybe fell on hard times or something, and they can't pay their bill. Because obviously if you've got a guy who owes $380,000 on a $400,000 house, that makes it hard in my position anyway, with my limited skill set so far, to come in and make a move that's going to help them and actually be a deal for me.
So let's talk about that for one quick second. So you said the exact numbers. They owe 380 and the property's worth 400.
Okay.
In most circumstances, that would be a hard deal to get into, because if you bought the deal today and you were forced to sell it, let's say a due on sale happens. Okay. So you take it over subject to, right? You keep the guy's mortgage in place and a due on sale does occur. Now, there's a number of ways to mitigate that problem, which we'll talk about like on a later call. But let's pretend for a second that you are forced to sell the property on the day that you buy it. And if you're buying it for a debt balance of $380,000 and it's only worth $400, and you're now forced to put it onto the market, after paying closing costs, commissions, and fees, you're basically losing about $35,000 to $40,000. So now you are negative. Okay.
Right.
Now, let's be more clear though. If you could take over a property like that and you're able to get into that property with no money down, and let's say the mortgage is $2,000 a month, but you are able to rent it out on day one for $3,000 a month. You're frozen again. There you are.
Yeah.
You're back. But you're able to rent it out for $3,000 a month. Are you willing to take that risk?
Yeah.
Steve, do me a favor. Turn off your camera. That's all you need to do right now.
Okay.
So what I was saying was,
all right, there we go.
Would you be willing to take that risk of having a cash flowing property, cash flow $1,000, but with the risk of, if you had to sell it today, that you'd potentially lose 20 grand?
I mean, for me personally, no, I wouldn't, because I'm not in a position to eat 20 grand.
Sure.
If I had the liquidity sitting there, I could see rolling the dice on that, because
You're breaking up again. Damn. I think you're gone.
As you
There
say,
you
there's
go.
ways
There
to
you go.
mitigate it.
You're back. You're back.
I was actually talking to somebody the other. Okay, cool. I was talking to somebody last month about it at a meetup, and they were saying that they had a due on sale happen to them,
Yep.
and they just ignored them like 3 times in a row, just ignored it, and they just kept making the payments, and then the bank got like sticky about it, like they kept wanting to, but they had made like 9 months worth of payments, and so when the bank tried to fight them on it, it was essentially like looked at as you've been accepting this guy's payments, and the bank just they just basically turned around and said, okay, fine, keep making the payments and we don't care.
And that's a common occurrence. That's one of the ways to mitigate this, right? I don't want to talk about mitigating a due on sale in this conversation, because again, every bank is different, every lender is different, every loss mitigation department is different, so on and so forth. But with this circumstance, you said yourself that you are not in the position to take that risk. But what if someone like me is? What if someone like me needs another property? I need the tax write-off. I need something like that, to where if I'm able to create a cash flowing property of $1,000 and it only costs me essentially your assignment fee, if I could pay $10,000 to $20,000 to buy a property that's in 2024 condition, is rentable right now for $3,000, and now I've got a cash flowing rental property, am I okay taking that risk? And the answer is every day I would be.
Sure.
Okay. Every day I would be. But now let's say the cash flow is only $100. Maybe not so much. Maybe I wouldn't be so inclined to do that, because I mean, shit, man, if an air conditioner breaks, I'm going to be negative on this cash flow for the next 3 years. Right?
Right.
So, but I want to go back to the original point that I'm trying to make, is that you were saying you learned recently how to be able to pull a foreclosure information from your county, which is fantastic. But then you said that if there's a property that doesn't have a lot of equity, that it might be a fruitless or not very much fruit that you can generate from that type of deal. And that's where I want to pop in and say I disagree. I think that you market to pre-foreclosures irregardless of the equity that they have in their property. Okay. Because if you have the ability to take over a property today, right now, and the seller just walks away, not a single dollar to that seller, and you're able to take title on a property that you could either cash flow or potentially cash flow, like maybe in a year once you raise rents, the answer is there's either you're going to want to buy that deal, or there's an investor like me that's going to want to buy that deal.
Okay.
And even if you can assign that out at $5,000 and make $5,000, is it worth it?
Yeah. I mean, at that point, throw $5,000 in your pocket and walk away.
Exactly.
So here's my question on a deal like that, though. If you were going to just give like kind of a broad statement answer, would it be something that you would look at more as a cash purchase, or would you look at it more as a sub 2 type deal?
If there's no equity, it's going to be sub 2 every day.
Okay.
Every day. Because nobody's
going to make cash on that.
Yeah. Well, reason being is that let's break down the logic here. If I'm going to have to come in with a cash purchase, that means that either one of two things are going to have to occur. I either have to go to a mortgage lender and I have to get my credit approved. I have to go through the entire application process that takes a few weeks to a few months, and I've got to get approved to be able to buy that property. That's option number one. Option number two is I go to hard money. And hard money is typically going to have like a 12-month time frame until where they're going to want their money back. And they're also going to be at 10 to 12% interest rate. So if I were to go to a bank and get a loan, what is required of me? Not only to have the proper credit, but also to show income, to show that I'm a viable candidate for this loan, but I've also got to come in with a down payment. So to your question, would you look at that as a cash deal? Absolutely not. There's no way that would ever work.
Okay. That makes sense.
Like, the whole purpose of a subject to offer is because you are keeping their mortgage in place. And more than likely, if fingers crossed, they have an interest rate that is lower than the current interest rates in today's market.
Okay.
So yeah.
I've got to run in right now in just a second here. but I'd love to pick your brain. There's actually a property like in my neighborhood that is in foreclosure right now, and they just listed it on the market. But
Okay.
if I recall correctly, they have like very, very little equity in the property, which is why I looked at it and I was like, nah, I didn't think there was much to do there. But I'll look it up later and hit you up and just see what your thoughts are on it. Because
Well, the most important thing to where you have to determine whether it's a good deal or not, even if
yeah,
they don't have any equity, that's fine. But the condition of the property is very important. If the condition of the property needs like 10, 20, 30, 40, $50,000 of work to get it to
right,
be rentable, then the answer is no, it's not a deal there. But if they bought the property 2 years ago on a 2022 build, or it's a brand new flip where there's a lot less deferred maintenance, where you're not going to have to replace the air conditioner because it was just replaced last year, things like that.
okay,
That's where there's more of an advantage to a deal like that. So
okay,
you need
cool,
to look at the condition of the property, and then you also need to determine what the rental rates are in that area, and compare that to what their mortgage payment is, their PITI. So
okay, cool,
that's it. And so if the deal works on those numbers, if you could just give it a quick glance and go, the property's in great condition, number one, or decent enough condition to where I could rent it out tomorrow. That's number one.
right,
Number two, that their PITI, the payments that they have to make to the bank, are below what I could rent it out for. If you could
okay,
answer yes to both of those questions, then I would give an offer for subject to.
okay, cool.
Cool. Awesome,
Uh,
man.
I will check it out. I hope. Are you going to do a replay later on through the?
Yeah, through YouTube. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
I will watch this later. Thanks, bro.
Awesome, man. Cool. Have fun
Take care, guys.
installing tile, Steve.
Oh yeah, lots of fun.
Yeah. All
Later.
right. We got a few other people in here. Jason, what's up, brother?
Good, good.
All right. You're listening in. You're here. You're absorbing. You're a sponge. Give me some updates.
Oh yeah.
Any wins? Any losses?
Oh, right now I just got my purchase and sell agreement, and he signed, so on the contract and ready to close in 60 days.
Which one is this? Is this that RV park?
No, it's a different one. It's a mobile home park now in South Carolina.
Amazing. Give me the details. I need the details.
Oh yeah, so he purchased, or asking price was 1.3 million,
Okay.
and we negotiated, went back and forth multiple times, and he accepted my offer for a $1 million, and I'll be taking over his sub two loan
Okay.
of about 2,500 a month, and he'll do a seller carry the rest for about 30 years amortized with a 10-year balloon.
That's incredible. What's the down payment?
Uh, 150,000.
Okay. So 15% down. And he's going to
Yeah,
carry the additional 850,000 over 10 years, amortized at 30 years, correct?
correct.
You're getting it for $1 million. What's the forced appreciation on this one? What do you have to do to the property? And then what's the ARV if you add different, pads and stuff like that? Like, what's your plan here?
So the plan is right now it's about 98% occupancy.
Okay.
One pad is vacant, so gonna put a property on there. Pretty much the property is all park-owned homes. So I'll go ahead and add a tenant into the vacant lot there. And it's on a 4-acre land, 4-acre land. And 2 of those acres are developed with 12 pads. So
And
I'm going ahead and continue to add more pads on the 2 acres remaining. And for the future year build, we'll be opening up to the 2 acres, the other 2 acres.
amazing, bro. And what's your plan here? Are you going to be trying to refinance out that balloon payment? Or are you going to keep it for 10 years? Like, what's your play?
Oh yeah, so I'm gonna refinance after 3 years I'll go 2x the private money equity partner and buy him out. Then from there, I start cash flowing and I said after 10 years, they go ahead, buy out the contract and own it free and clear.
Love it, dude. Okay, so you need a private equity partner, and they're coming
Yes.
in with the 150,000, and then are they coming in with the renovation expenses as well?
Correct.
Is this what have you found this person yet? Is this one person, multiple people? What does that look like?
So yeah, I'll be the GP on this, and I'm looking for LP partners, maybe one or multiple. So I already got my package all set up and ready to start presenting.
Okay. So I've got about a half mil to deploy.
So you're mute. I'm not hearing you.
You can't hear me right now? Check, 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 check. Mic check. I'm mic is picking up. Hello, hello. Ava, can you hear me?
I hear you now.
Okay, there we go. I was just saying, I've got a half mil available to deploy. I'm not sure if I necessarily want to get in for like a 3-year stint, but let me know. Let me know what this looks like for you. I might be open to it, or I might have somebody also that's in. I think he's in North Carolina that also wants to invest. That I just got hit up by him. So let's see if that's a possibility as well. I just know the 3-year aspect might not be a play, but if you're able to find somebody that if you need like a gap loan, let me know and I might be able to pull something off for you. Okay.
Perfect. Yeah, that'll be great. I can send you the underwriting and you can just take a look at it.
Cool. Love it. Love it. Love it. Awesome, man. So what else other than that? You're just going to be, what's your next steps right now? You just got the purchase agreement signed. You're opening up escrow. What's next for Jason?
So what next is to find an SP so they can go ahead and see what else they can go ahead and underwrite and more improvement on there. And because I want to start, doing more value adds to the properties and increase the cap rate and so on.
Okay. What are you going to do about Utah? You're in Utah and this is in South Carolina. What are you going to do about managing all this virtually? Are you going to be going out there all the time?
Oh no, right now I'm looking at probably third-party management. So I found a couple about 12K a year, so that's pretty good range.
That's great. That's really good. Well, awesome, man. Those are the next steps. Welcome to the big leagues. You just got a big property under contract, and this has the potential of. Let me ask you this: if you were to refinance it and get all of your private equity back out and all that kind of stuff, what do you think the actual value of the property is going to be after you put in renovation expenses? So you're buying it for $1 million. What are your estimated expenses on renovations going to be?
So I said less than $500,000.
Okay. I was going to say about 350, somewhere around there. So you're 350. So now you're in for 1.35. Let's say that. Let's just round up to 1.4. So you're in for 1.4. What do you think the property is going to be worth in 3 years once that 400,000 has put those extra pads into place and all the infrastructure is built out? What's your estimate there on ARV?
So after adjusting cap rate at 9%, the fair market value is estimated to be 3.4 million in 2 years.
That's great, bro. That's good. That's good. So you have the potential of making like 1.5 mil in about a 2 to 3 year period.
Correct.
That's not bad. It's not a bad payday.
Oh yeah, this is a good buy and hold.
That's a good buy and hold. I love that. Well, awesome, man. Are you doing anything else out here right now in Utah at all?
No, beside my fix and flip team that I watch over and helping them with coaching and so on. So they're doing good. They're doing their flips and I'm enjoying it.
Good. I love that, man. I love that. Well, awesome, bro. I want to transition real quick to Herb. Herbert, what's up, buddy? You there?
Hello.
There you are.
Hello.
There you are.
Hi.
Hello. Hello. What's up, man?
Yes, so
Aloha.
aloha. So, my question is I got to start. They say that if you don't make any offers, you don't make money, right? So
They say that.
So I'm at that stage where I need to get better idea to make an offer. I don't quite know, how to do an offer.
Okay. All right. Well, I think you messaged me about this. Let's dive into that real quick. Okay. So I was talking about this a little bit with Steve just a second ago. Like, how do you make the offer, right? You first need to identify, is this going to be a cash offer or a creative offer, right? When it comes to, let's focus on market for a second. Let's focus on properties that are listed on the market. When we are looking for properties listed on the market, we are looking for one of two things. We are looking for a property that needs to be remodeled, right? So the property condition is terrible. What's up, Ardita? Where we're looking for a property where the property's condition is terrible. But we also want to make sure that that property was purchased, I don't know, 5 years, 10 years, 20 years or more ago, because we want to make sure that that person has equity in the property. Now, is there a way to determine whether they have equity or they don't? There actually is. And that's using a service like PropStream. I know you're trying not to spend a lot of money right now, but have you ever checked out PropStream before?
Somebody showed me it a while ago.
Okay.
But
So what's good about PropStream, and there's other services out there similar to it, but what I really like about PropStream is it's very, very clear there in the information that you're able to look up an address and you can look at what the debt is on that address instantly. So let's say they purchased the property 30 years ago. Is it safe to assume that they would have a lot of equity? Yes, it is.
yes.
But what if they took a HELOC out 2 years ago? How are you going to know that? Right? All you're going to know is that the property was purchased 30 years ago, and you're going to make that safe assumption that like, oh, there must be equity. But then going into PropStream and looking at services like that, now you go, oh shit, they took a HELOC out.
What is a HELOC?
A HELOC is a home equity line of credit. It's essentially leveraging the home's equity and creating a credit card.
Oh,
Okay.
I see it.
That's one way. There's another way, which is just basically a cash out refinance. Cash out refinances were really popular about 4 or 5 years ago because the property appreciated so quickly during COVID, and then interest rates were still super low. So people were like, hey, I bought my property in 2020 at a 4% interest rate, and now my property's worth $150,000 more and interest rates are 2.5%. It's a no-brainer to do a refinance. So what they would do is they would do a cash out refi. So they're able to take that $150,000 of equity that they've made over the past 2 years, and they refinanced it to even a lower interest rate to lower their payments. And a lot of homeowners did very well by doing that. I did that as well. And that was a really great time in my life. That made things very, very simple. It's not like that anymore. So now we're seeing more HELOCs. But nonetheless, let's say for a second that person purchased the property 30 years ago and they did a cash out refinance 3 years ago. Would you know that information unless you had that software or that information in front of you? No. The only way you can find that is by actually going to the county records and looking at how many liens are recorded or how many notes or deeds are on the property. Does that make sense, Herb?
Yes.
Okay. So first thing we want to do is whatever we're looking at, whether it's an on-market property or an off-market property, we are trying to identify, do they have equity in the property? That is going to determine what kind of offer we are able to give. If they have equity, guess what? We can give them a cash offer for sure, and we could also give them a creative offer. If they have very little motivation to sell, then I'm probably going to hit them up with a creative offer, like a subject to or a seller finance, or what we call it's an all-inclusive deed of trust, which is a hybrid. It is, we are taking over their mortgage, or in this circumstance, like the example I'm giving, we are taking over their HELOC. We're making payments to their HELOC, but then we're also making payments to them monthly or as a balloon payment down the road for the equity they have in the home. Does that make sense, dude?
Sorry, could you repeat that again? You said they're making a payment for a
Yes.
balloon payment?
So it's called an all-inclusive deed of trust. It's also known as a hybrid. Okay. And a hybrid is you are making payments to the mortgage that they have in place, but you are also seller financing with them their equity that they have in the property. So let's say the property is worth $200,000 right now, and their mortgage is a balance of $100,000. Okay. How much equity do they have, Herb? What percentage?
So their mortgage is 100,000.
Mortgage is 100,000 and the property's worth 200,000 right now.
50%.
There you go. Okay.
Okay.
So they've got 50% mortgage. That means that you've got to pay $100,000 to that mortgage that already exists. Then they have another $100,000 of their equity. Depending on their need to sell, let's say it's a foreclosure. Chances are that they're willing to sell their property at a discount. But let's say they're not in much of a need to sell. Maybe they're not very motivated. Could you come at them and say, hey, I'm open to taking over your $100,000 mortgage, but what if I paid you $120,000 of your equity? If I can give you $20,000 down right now, would you let me make you a payment of $100,000 in 10 years? So you're making $120,000 off of this sale? Does that make sense?
Oh, they're getting more money, right?
They're getting more money. Exactly right. So depending on their urgency to sell a property, that's going to determine whether it's based off of a need to sell or the greed to sell. If they have more greed where they may not need to sell today, but let's say it's like, hey, like for example, I bought many properties where I have happily overpaid for the property. Happily. But that's because they give me 0% interest financing on their equity for 10 years. Can I get financing like that from a bank? The answer is absolutely not. Right? And by the way, Perdita, I love that you're not only on camera, but I love that you're like, yes, no, like it's very interactive. I appreciate that. So to my point, would you be willing to overpay for a property if they're willing to give you very favorable terms? And the answer is yes. Every single day of the week, you should be open to doing that. Okay. So you find a property that's listed on the market and the property you identify has 50% equity. You now have to find out, okay, they're looking to sell it for $200,000. You have to ask the agent, hey, can I ask you a question? What is your client looking for? Is your client looking for just to walk away from the property? Or is the property maybe, what if it's an absentee owner? What if this property was originally a rental for them? What if they were a landlord and this property was kind of cash flowing a little bit and then the tenants moved out and now this landlord is just tired and they don't want to run this property anymore? Do you think that landlord would be open to a seller finance opportunity where they can make more money from the property and still make monthly cash flow? I think they would. They'd be open to that conversation. So it's a matter of, Herbert, to kind of answer your question about how do you make an offer, the most important thing above all is you have to find out what the seller's motivation really is. The least important thing in the conversation about an offer is the price. I want you to remember that. The price is the least important conversation. When you uncover what a seller is going through, you uncover what their real motivation and what their real price is. Does that make sense so far, dude?
Yes.
Okay. So when you are dealing with an on-market property, you're typically dealing with an agent. And talking to that agent is going to be a little bit more difficult to find the motivation of that seller because an agent, if they're trained in what they do, they kind of know that, hey, they're not going to give away information about their seller. Play hard to get. But then you want to lean into the agent's pain. You want to ask questions about, hey, I'm just curious, like how many offers are you getting right now? And they're always going to say, oh, we're getting a lot of offers. They're not, right? You have to understand that right away, that that's a very common tactic. Yeah, we're getting a lot of offers. Okay, great. Have you had any showings? What's been the results of those showings? Have you got anything in hard paper? Have you accepted anything? If you've got a bunch of offers, why is your client hesitant on accepting them? What's going on? Now, if the property's been sitting on the market for 45, 50, 60, 70, 90 days, now I don't care what that agent says. They are not getting enough offers that are working for him and his client, or her and the client. So you need to identify what their ultimate goal is. And if you remember, Herb, that guy Doug that I spoke to, that you brought me that was you, right?
Yes.
Yeah. That guy was an asshole, straight up asshole agent. And he said, listen, I get calls like this all the time, blah, 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 blah. My client's not looking to do any type of payment plan or anything like that. They just want to sell. So now, if I really wanted to do this deal, Herbert, if I really wanted to work with Doug, I probably would have given a cash offer of maybe 110 to 120. Problem is, you already made that offer, correct?
Yes.
Yeah. So we already know that they're going to turn that down. And then for me, if let's say I were to go up to 130, could I have made an offer for 130 and maybe would they have accepted? They might have. But we both know that that property was listed $80,000 over market value. So would it have been worth it coming up on my price when I know that I'm now overpaying for a property that still needs a shit ton of work? Probably not the best investment on my part. If it did allow me, though, am I okay overpaying a little bit if I know that if I put in money into the renovation that the ARV is now going to stack and I'm going to be able to make a lot more money? Sure, I'm open to that. But that property, the reason it's been on market for 6 months is because they're not willing to lower their price, and they know that the value of their property is 110 to 120, but they're asking for 190. So that's a really, really good example of finding out, does that seller have pain? And I'll tell you right now, Doug has pain. He does. He doesn't want to take these calls anymore. He doesn't want to be accepting, like he's tired of it. And quite frankly, probably what happened, I think I said this in the last call, is that Doug accepted this listing agreement with a client that the client is probably unwilling to lower their price. And so now Doug, because of his responsibility, if you remember when I said that he's not representing his client by blocking my call, and he said, you don't think I'm representing my client? If I were to dig into that a little bit more, I bet you he's sick and tired of representing his client. Because he's probably gone to his client and said 15 different times, hey, we got a lower price. And the client says no. So now Doug is forced to take these phone calls when he knows very well that the client's not willing to budge. Okay. So let's go back to this whole point, Herb, about making offers. You first want to identify, does the property have enough equity? If the property has enough equity, we want to underwrite and find out what the property is worth right now, how much money needs to go into the property, and what the property's ARV is going to be. After repair value. Do you know how to determine after repair value, Herbert?
I have an idea, but I was just trying to I wanted to know how to do a quicker way of, just something I could just look at really quick if I'm on the phone or something, and then just present it.
Right. Again, a software like PropStream does help you with that. I always have my team. They're always going to have PropStream open on their computer because it gives here, I'll just pull it up real fast. I'll give you a screen share. So I always have.
Sorry, but by the way, I did try to, I'll ask this, you could answer after possible, but I did make my first or second attempt to call property owner or agent, but it was kind of weird.
Well, first of all, Herbert, that is a huge freaking win. That's fantastic. And I'm going to give you a really quick clap right now, because the fact that you made your first calls to try to talk to a homeowner, that's scary. I remember what it was like for me. Right. And so I'm not too detached from you guys, by the way. Right. I still remember what it felt like to be terrified about making that first call. So that's a huge leap forward, bro. Good job. So let me just I want to pick a random address real quick. Sorry, go ahead.
You want me to tell you the address that I made a call on?
Sure, buddy.
It has an agent, but
yeah, go for it. Give me the address.
Yeah. Okay.
Let me share my screen. Hold on.
I couldn't make a offer, I don't think, because it was just the guy was out to lunch. He was crazy.
Okay.
I think.
Okay. All right. So here,
Yeah,
pretend that you are on a phone call right now, and the person answers, or let's say somebody gives your phone a call and they say, "Hey Herbert, I heard you buy properties in the city. I've got a property that I'm looking to sell. Do you think you can give me an offer?" And you're of course going to say, "Yeah, absolutely. Can you real quickly give me the address?" So now we're gonna pretend right now that this is a live call. So give me the address.
Okay, it's 1011 Shadwell. It's in San Antonio.
SHADW. There we go, San Antonio. Notice how it pops up right here. Boom. Okay, let's zoom out for just a second. I want to see where this is in the market. Hey, I can't think of a more centralized type of location. I'm very okay with this. It's right there in the middle of San Antonio. It's not really in the outskirts at all. Like, this is good. Now, zooming in even further, let's look at the streets. I think it'd be pretty safe to assume here, Herbert, that most of these properties are probably going to be very similar square footage and probably year built and probably subdivision and all that stuff. Would you agree with that?
That's based off of.
Look at the layout of this. Okay, so what
the
we want to look
uniform.
at, what we're looking at here is we're looking at the plots. Okay, plots meaning that this is the space of the property. This plot is a rectangle, 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 blah, 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 blah. All of these, except for this last one over here, this last one is a little bit wider. It looks to me like the corner lots are slightly larger. And we've got maybe a couple of outliers right here that these are slightly larger as well. But it's safe to assume that most of these are all probably the same square footage for the lot size. Can we see that?
Yes.
Then you've got this like one outlier right here that's got like a double size and all that stuff. But overall, this neighborhood probably has a very common build that is of our target property. Okay. So far, so good. Now, I'm zooming in on the property right now. I see something that could raise a little bit of a red flag to me, but it could also be the Google image. Is that the back here looks like there might be holes in the roof. I see that right there. I'm not going to overthink that yet.
Yeah.
I'm not overthinking that. I'm not. I noticed that first thing first. And so you know what? That could be a patio. That could be like a pergola. And maybe that's what I'm seeing. But again, something I'm just always going to pay attention to. I'm also paying attention to the fact that this is not a green lawn. It's kind of like a weeded dead lawn versus next door. It's a little bit greener, which means that this probably is not taken care of as well. And then we also got a lot of overgrown brush. These are just the things that when you are comping a property and you're figuring out ARV, it's a combination of science and art. Science is comparing square footage to square footage. And art is determining, is there a telephone pole in front of their kitchen window? Because that can determine a $5,000 drop on the value of that ARV. Because if somebody were to walk that property and go, "Oh my God, I'm super excited about this, but oh, look out the window. I'm staring at a telephone pole." That person might not be willing to make an offer on that property, which means you get less offers, less competition, and you make less money. Does that make sense, dude?
Yes.
Okay. Now, I'm already seeing here the first photo. Ooh, yeah, I'm already getting scared. I could already see a bunch of debris on the floor, and I can see old wood panels. Let's click on the actual property. So here's the property tab. Already, PropStream is telling me $223,000 value. Last year, it estimated $183,000. I'm going based off of the fact that there's no mortgages. This property is owned free and clear from what I can tell. If I were to go to, as you can see here, if there was a mortgage, there'd be a tab right here that says mortgage information. Okay, but there's not. So what I'll also look for is I'll see if there's any linked properties. If there's a linked property, it typically means this person might be a landlord or something like that. But the fact that this property is owned free and clear, I would also look at how many years of ownership. This was built in 1962. Length of ownership. It does not show length of ownership. I'm going to take a wild guess here. I think this is a probate. I think that this is a possible inheritance property or somebody is deceased. That's my opinion. I'm not sure yet. I'd obviously have to dive into that a little bit more, But when I see a property owned free and clear, and I see the property, let's look at the photos, that looks disheveled like this. It's worn out carpet. It's definitely a hoarder house. I mean,
Good Lord.
That's
I didn't get
disgusting.
to see that.
Okay. So that's gross. Soup. And look at this. We've got,
You were right.
yeah,
You were
remember I said
right.
there's holes in the ceiling? This is a very good example of there's clearly holes in the roof. Therefore, we have all of this molding and all of this water damage right here. So let's keep going.
Jesus.
That kitchen is disgusting. You see there's even more water damage in the ceiling. Water damage in the ceiling.
Holy crap.
So I'm going to take a moment here. I'm going to pat myself on the back. Okay, real fast. All right. You notice that before I ever looked at the property, these are things that I'm automatically identifying. I've done this 1,000 times, right? So I'm identifying potential red flags or yellow flags that I should be aware of to pay attention to. Because sometimes when you see photos, they're purposely taking photos and they're going to be like leaving the damage to the wall outside of the photo. So these are always things in my mind that I'm always going to take into account. So this right here, this property is destroyed. Okay. So now let's go here. You said it's listed, right?
Yes.
So I'm going to go to MLS details. MLS details are going to show the information of what the listing might say. So we sometimes see the MLS information where no, there's not enough notes. Sometimes we'll actually see a paragraph where they give descriptions on what this is. So what I might even do is I might even open up a new tab, and let's see if we could open up Zillow and see if Zillow pulls this up. Okay, we got it on Realtor. Let's first go to Zillow. Here we go. Unlock the potential of this 1960 contemporary home. This 3-bedroom, blah, 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 is a gem waiting for a new owner to discover and restore it to its former glory. Built in 1960, it features 1,282 square feet, a unique contemporary design, but needs full rehabilitation. After standing vacant and ignored for years, this property has a spacious backyard. Imagine transforming the spacious rooms into your dream space as in a friendly Donaldson neighborhood close to parks and amenities. This is a fantastic opportunity, blah, 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 blah. Okay. Number one, this property actually might not. There's a term we call it's a keyword search when it comes to distressed properties on the MLS. So what my team will do is they'll typically, depending on a market we want to focus on, we will run a keyword search on the MLS itself to where whenever an agent lists a property with certain keywords in the description, we're going to get notified. The only keywords here that could potentially notify us, this agent did a pretty damn good job in not triggering a lot of keywords. There's 2 words though that come out to me. One is gem, GEM. That's a very common term for, unlock the potential in this hidden gem. Hidden gem is a term used by agents very often. So I would do a search for gem, and then I also see rehabilitation. That's a very interesting choice of words. That rehabilitation, that's not used very commonly. We see rehab all the time, or we see renovation or something like that. But rehabilitation and gem would have been those 2 words. So, Herbert, let me ask you a question. How did you find this property? Was it a search for a general purchase price amount, or how did you find this specific listing?
So I went on, there's this app that I was told about. It's in San Antonio, and I just looked at it. Yeah.
Well, I mean, did it just randomly give you this? Was this already a distressed property that was giving you? How did you find this?
I just went online.
And it was just right there?
Yeah, I came across it. I was like, okay, well, I don't know, maybe I'd try this.
The app that you were checking out, was that an app that gives you information about distressed properties?
It's no. It's actually called Saver. I think it's a Realtors use that app.
So let's look at the photos on Zillow. So now the old photos we just saw, those were other photos that are not on Zillow. Now let's look at this. So front of the house looks scary. Scary. Pretty scary. And you guys aren't going to give me anything on the inside, huh? Okay.
That's what I was able to see. That's why I was like, whoa, man, I didn't even see the inside.
Right. So we're also seeing here, I'm seeing this giant crack in this slab. And if you notice, this crack is also going kind of towards the house itself, which could potentially mean that there's a slab issue, a foundation issue as well. But we look at the fascia, the soffit, all of this needs to be replaced. We can safely assume that this is a absolute full gut rehab with the potential of mold, which is definitely going to be there, and the potential of a foundation issue, which is definitely going to be there. This property is going to need full electric, full plumbing, probably needs central AC, all that kind of stuff. Like, wow. Okay. Now, with that being said, me personally, this is a hard property right now. I'm going to tell you why. Depending on the ARV of what you can get for a property in this area, if an asking price is $78,000, that might be only for the land value itself. This property might need to be a full teardown. We call that a full scrape, where we just basically scrape everything off the property and we build a brand new house. That would potentially be the play here, because here's what I'm going to do. We're going to get 1282. I'm pulling up my calculator right now. 1282, and we're going to multiply that by, I'd say easily $50 per square foot, but I even want to go higher because there's a lot more renovation that needs to take place. I guarantee you there's mold remediation, stuff like that. So I'm going to go to times $60 per square foot. That brings us to a $77,000 rehab. Okay. That also doesn't include any major components like air conditioner or electrical repair or things like that. So let's round up. Let's play this super safe and say that the renovations on this are $90,000 to $100,000. Can we safely say that? Yeah. Okay. So $90,000 to $100,000. $100,000 if you're hiring a project manager, $90,000 if you're doing it yourself or if you've got your own subcontractors. So now what we want to do is we're going to go back to PropStream and we're going to try to look at some of the comparables. And what I want to do here is I want to try to identify, we see here public record and is green and the blue is MLS. Luckily, if I believe Texas is a disclosure state, so we should be able to get stuff on public records. I think maybe it's not. It's estimated. So let's look at this one real quick. This one was for 266. Photos suck. This was taken back in 2017. Okay, property is decent condition, nothing special. 178. Okay. Not bad. This was taken in 2024. You could see the copyright right there. So this was just a year ago. So here's a new renovation.
So you're going by the highest sale and then working your way down.
What I'm looking for is if somebody were to renovate this property and sell it for top dollar, what is the top dollar that I can get for this property? The fact that this kitchen is like just has a standalone stove in the middle of nowhere is not fantastic. But this one, again, looking at this was 180. So I think let's look at this 221. Okay, this one looks nice. Copyright 2024, so this was a year ago. Nice backyard. Beautiful backyard, actually. Okay. Nice kitchen. Come on, show me the kitchen. There we go. Yeah, beautiful kitchen. This is a full remodel. This is in my opinion, this would be ARV. This is the after repair value. Everything about this is perfect. And this one sold for 220. Okay. a year ago. So with that being said, I think that ARV is 220 for the property. And let's look at this. This is number 7. So if we're looking at our target property is that red one. And if you go down 2 blocks to number 7, that's how close we are. Same square footage, everything like that. I think that's a perfect one. Now, just to reinforce that, I see there's a 242 right here. Let's look at this one. Copyright 2024. This is already a worn out property. So that's not correct information. Unless, no, that's not correct.
What made that worn out?
You can look at the first photo. It's worn carpet, old chandelier, debris all over the floor, trash everywhere. If I keep going through this, I'll show you. Trash. The bathroom has missing tile, whatever that is. Yeah, like a lot of things.
Ceiling. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, a lot of things wrong with it. This is worn out. So this one is incorrect. So just to verify, if I were to be on a call with a seller and I were to look at this, I would be looking at the averages and I see 220, 225, 180, 155, 242, 189. If I were to take, and here we have one at 332, but I think that's an outlier. But if I were to just average this out, I'd probably come to an average of about 200 to 220 off of first glance. Would you agree with that?
Yes.
Okay. Let's go back to Zillow for a second. I wanted to show you something. So I'm going to go back to this listing. And if you go down, you should actually be able to see other properties listed that are like it. And if I zoom in here, nearby homes, 121. Oh, these are estimates. So let's find here. So similar homes for sale. Ooh, now this is where now I'm getting scared. Okay. The fact that I see this 105,000, but it's a 716 square foot home. 90,900 square foot home. 85,916 square foot home. Something is spooking me right now because I'm looking for something that's around 1,200 square feet, which is more like this one that is going for 185,000. So what I'm afraid of right now is our property only actually like registered at around 700 to 900. But if you remember the Zillow listing, what did it say here this is again a red flag. Going back to PropStream, I go to MLS details. I saw something right here. Converted garage, eat-in kitchen, 1 living area. I have a feeling that they converted the garage to being a living area, which then made it go from 900 square feet or 700 square feet, one of those smaller size properties, to now it's a 1,200 square foot property because of that converted garage. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Okay. When I see this, I see a 1,200 square foot house with a 2-car garage for 185, but I know that our target property now doesn't have a garage anymore because it got converted. Now we're looking at ARV being a lot lower now. So let's just say ARV, here's this property right now, 185. This looks to me like it doesn't have a garage. Nicely renovated, decent enough kitchen. Oh, it does have a 1-car garage on the back. So if I were to really kind of gauge the after repair value of this property, of our target property, I think that 200 is probably the cap. Okay. So now, what did we say before? $200,000, right? And then we have a $90,000 to $100,000 renovation.
Yes,
So,
and you're saying 200 based just because the other was 220 and you're just averaging or something?
I'm averaging right now. And then again, I also know that ours has a converted garage. And what I don't know about that one let's go to the comparables. This one that was 220. Was it this one? Yeah, this one right here. My question is, does this one have a garage? And I don't think it does. So I'd say, okay, if we were really generous, then maybe I'd say that our ARV would be 220, but then our renovation would also go up a lot more because we have to do more landscaping and fix that foundation in the back. Because this property in the backyard, this is a really nice property. Like, they did a good job on this. So let's just say, for the argument's sake, that 220 is the ARV. Okay. I'm going to pull up my calculator. I'm going to go 220,000. I'm going to multiply that by point. San Antonio is not a bad area. It's got a lot of desire. I'm going to say multiply it by 0.85. 0.85 typically is going to calculate in your closing costs, your commissions, your fees, and then it's going to be a potential profit to that flipper. So 187. Okay. Then I'm going to be taking away the $100,000. That brings us a maximum allowable offer of $87,000. But we know that our property on Zillow is what? It's listed for how much? 78?
Yeah. Yeah.
So we are in a profit point. Like, if that's the case, if our ARV is in fact $220,000, we are in a profitable position to be able to give them their asking price and try to find a flipper. However, what if our ARV is not 220,000, but it's 180,000? Let's run that number. So 180,000 times 0.85, take away 100,000. Now we have an offer of 53 grand. Do you see the difference?
Yes.
And if you're looking to make any form of assignment off this deal, you're going to have to get it below $53,000. And I'm not going to try to put doubt in your mind, because obviously giving an offer is not the wrong thing to do here. It's the right thing to do. But also be aware that there's a lot of work that needs to be done to this property, which means that there's probably going to be a lot of flippers that are going to be scared of this type of job. They don't have the capacity. They don't have the skill set. Like, we already know the roof is probably caving in, right? That's going to be a bunch of mold remediation. That's going to be a problem all in and of itself. The foundation issues, the plumbing, this is, when I said $100,000, this could very well be 120 to 140,000. Unless we get in there and actually check it out, we don't know. But from your position, Herb, if you're trying to get it under contract, if you gave an offer of $45,000, do it. Like, do it. Give the offer of $45,000, right? And why do I say that? Because what's the worst that's going to happen? They say no. What if they say yes to 50 and you get it under contract at 50 and you can then blast it out to the public at 55,000? Could you make $5,000? Maybe. Yes, you could. But would you also learn a lot from the experience by talking to other buyers and finding out what more about the property and having them inspect it and having them walk the property? Yes. But my guess is, if you were to talk to the agent, we would uncover what the real motivation is of this property. The fact that it's a hoarder house, it's got a lot of things wrong with it. My guess is, once again, that this was a vacant property. It's probably a probate. A family probably inherited it in a probate case or something like that, and now they want to get rid of it. So how long has this property been on market for? Do you know?
Let's see.
Been on market for
91 days.
91 days. So, you want me to give him a call?
Oh, okay, sure, yeah,
All right,
that'd be great.
here we go. Okay. All right, 915.
Please leave your message for
Let's try it again. Come on.
please leave your message.
One more time.
Please leave your message for
Edward Taylor.
Everett, my name's Jeremy. How you doing today? I was calling about your property on Shadwell. It's been on market for 91 days. It's safe to assume there's a lot of work that needs to be done to that, but luckily for both of us, I do a lot of flips over in that area. So this was brought to me actually by a student of mine, and I wanted to kind of have a chance to talk with you and see, if we can maybe make something work out, find out more about your client's motivation, if they're looking for any form of down payment, if they're looking for a cash offer. If you can give me a call back, that'd be fantastic. Yeah, you got my number. Thanks, man. So there we go. Can't say anything else. I wish he answered. Maybe he'll give me a call back here. But yeah, it's this property needs a lot of work. But again, I would feel super comfortable. The fact that it's priced at $78,000, my guess is that he's coming up with an ARV of around 180 to 200 based off of probably an $80 to $90,000 rehab. And so for us, if we can get it for $50,000, there's profit in this deal. But it's also been on market for over 90 days, which makes me wonder. And if I can, I'm actually going to go through the history here, and I want to see if it shows them if they've dropped the price. So here we go. So I know I'm not sharing screen right now. I'll share screen. Hold on. All right. They originally listed in January. So it's been on market for a lot longer than 90 days. They listed in January for $99,000. Then, I'm sorry, not January, November. That's an 11, so that's November. They listed in November for $100,000. Then 2 weeks later, they dropped price down to $89,000. Then 3 months later, they dropped price down to $79,000, so another 10 grand. And then we've been sitting at that basically since February. It did pen sale. So probably once they saw a price drop, probably a wholesaler got it under contract. And on February 7th, it was pending a sale. February 12th, the listing was removed. And then it got listed again in April for the $78,000 mark, which means that they took it off market for a little while. I don't know what happened between February and April. Maybe they were trying to get their ducks in a row. I don't really know, but they listed it again in April and it hasn't gone anywhere since then. So I think they know, and we know, that the market is not supporting their $78,000 mark. So there you go. That is how you give an offer, Herbert. And I'll tell you this much. For me, I wouldn't spend any time doing what I just did with you. I would immediately, if I saw a lead like this come in, I'd immediately hop on a call. I would get an average out there as fast as possible. I'd say, okay, based off the numbers I'm looking at and based off the renovation amount that I'm looking at, like I'm seeing some photos here. And pretend for a second you're not even seeing photos. Pretend that somebody goes to your website and says, hey, Herbert, I want to sell you my property, and it's in decent condition. And you ask them, okay, on a 10 scale, what would you rate the property? Someone like this would rate it for like a 5. Do you think I rate it as a 5 or you rate it as a 5? No, that's a 1 at best, right? But I've never heard anybody ever say to me, oh, it's a 1, okay? Because they're trying to get the most out of it as possible. So I would come at it and go, okay, well, what exactly do you want? What's your asking price? Oh, you want 130? I can't do that. Like, I'll tell you right now, I've got to talk to, my financial partner. I've got to talk to my contractor. We've got to figure this out. But, I've got to get some photos taken of the property. If you want me to buy it sight unseen, you're going to have to come down a little bit on your number and we'll work from there. Okay. You get them to come down. Then you can get them under contract. Then once you're under contract, then you're going to go get photos taken. And then you're going to get an idea like, whoa. You told me this was a 5 out of 10. A 5 out of 10 just needs like new carpet, new paint, and some renovations. You literally have holes coming through your roof. What do you want me to do here? Are you willing to work with me? What's going on here? Because I can tell you right now that we can't come in at that price. And then renegotiate. But now there's a general rule here. I do not support getting people under contract just for the sake of renegotiating. That's not the goal here. We want to try to get them to a price point that makes sense for a buyer, no matter what. We don't want to waste everybody's time and hurt that seller, because I've had that happen a number of times where a seller comes to me and says, a wholesaler just wasted my time. And I was like, yeah, that wholesaler got you under contract $50,000 more than they should have. But what we do want to do is we do want to identify, like, can we get this at a decent enough price? But identifying their motivation is the most important thing here. And I'll tell you this much. 99% of the time, if a seller is truly motivated to sell their property and you have to go back and renegotiate, they will do it if it's reasonable. Okay?
Yes.
Yes. Any other questions about this?
Well, when I made the call, during it, the I guess the agent was saying that I need to be represented by an agent to see the property or something. I don't know how that works. Is that a new law or something?
I'd have to check with Texas, but the answer is probably not.
Why would he say that?
Because okay, I take that back. No, I'm sorry, I'm wrong. No, there isn't the new NAR ruling. Oh, what is the answer to this again? I forget what exactly the answer is, but essentially the NAR ruling states that you have to, no, it's not the NAR ruling. It's usually the brokerage, because of the NAR ruling. The brokerage is now telling the agent that they require, if you're going to be showing somebody a property, that person either has to be listed with you or with another agent. They can't be unrepresented. So, what I would say to him is like, listen, I'm not represented. I'm looking, if you want to represent me as well and get a double close on this one, like, I'm super happy to do that, but I'm looking to basically give you an offer. And I'm not an agent. I'm an end buyer. What does that look like? But so he pulls that with you. Then what? Did you ask any questions about the property or anything like that? Or did it just get shut off right there?
Yeah, when I asked about the property and why there wasn't any photos, he said, well, you could just come by and look at it. Of course, I can't do that.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, let's see if that guy calls back. If he does, I'll try to record the call so you can listen to it. He's probably not going to call back, but yeah, what you're doing right now is exactly what you should be doing, dude. Exactly what you should. And based off of this being a listing of $78,000, I would come in, if you know you want to be around 50, I would come in at about 40. Okay.
And why is that?
What's that?
Oh, why come in at 40?
Because they're always going to have you go up.
Got it.
Always. Okay. So let's practice this for 1 second. It's, hey, Herb, let's, you know what? Actually, Perdita, let's role play for a second. I am the buyer. You are the seller. All right.
Okay.
So Perdita, what's your asking price on the property? Like, what, if in a perfect world, what do you feel the property is worth?
The property he has,
Sure.
the property that we saw, I would ask for around 80.
Perdita, I will absolutely go to my contractor about that, but I can tell you right now, with, you know, where properties are being sold in that range of like the amount of work that needs to be done, with the renovations being anywhere from $90,000 to $120,000 and the market not being fantastic right now, and it's actually a falling market, I know that they'd want to come in a lot lower. I can tell you right now, their comfort position, like a number that I know that they would be really happy with, would probably be like 30 or 35. What does that
Wow.
sound like to you?
That's a steep drop.
I know, but you know, again, the market is dropping right now, and I know that the properties we're trying to fix up right now, if we don't get this property on the market and fixed up and we discover mold issues or foundation issues, obviously, you know, we want to buy it at a price from you that makes sense to everybody, to where we're not having to cancel a month down the road and waste your time. We want to make sure this works. So how do you feel about I mean, if I can come up to 35, what's your thoughts?
Um, Going from 80 to 35, it's really steep, but because this has been on the market for a long time, I think we can work something out.
Okay. Then what you would probably say, could you do 70?
Can you do 70?
And I'd say, I wish I could. I know that, again, they want to be around 30 to 35, but if I can come up a little bit, if I can get them to come up, let's say 40, like really the goal here is I want everyone to kind of meet in the middle, right? And that's my ultimate goal. But I know that they want to be around 40, and I know that your asking price of 80 is just way too much. Like there's properties in the neighborhood that are going for 80 that were renovated 5 years ago. Right. And so I need to be really like clear with you that we want to buy the property. We're ready to do it. We've got the capital to do it. And we can close in less than 2 weeks. You can have your cash in your pocket. We pay closing costs. We pay all the fees. If we do all of that for you, are you able to work with me?
Yes, I am.
Okay. So what's the lowest you think you could do?
I can probably go as low as 50 or 45.
Okay. All right. Stand by. I'm going to give you a call right back. I'm going to ask them what they can do. I'm going to try to get you the 50 if I can, but if I can't, I heard you say 45. Like at worst case scenario, are you able to do the 45?
Yes.
Okay. I'm going to try for the 50. So now you
Okay.
hang up, run your numbers, and you call them back and say, I've got really good news. Oh, hey, I think this guy's calling me back right now. Here we go. Hello, this is Jeremy.
Hey, Jeremy, this is Everett Taylor. Did you try to call me?
I did, Everett. How you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good.
Your volume is really low right now. Are you on like Bluetooth or something?
Yeah.
Is there any way that I can get off Bluetooth? Because I can barely hear you.
Okay, hold on.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It sounds like a whisper.
Hey.
Hey, there you are. There you are. Yeah, it sounded like a whisper before. I could barely hear you. Anyway, yeah, I was giving you a call. So one of my students reached out to me about this property in San Antonio on Shadwell. I had a question for you. I've looked at the numbers. I do a lot of flips. I do a lot of renovations, and typically, as you probably know this game as well as I do, what we're looking at is, why the property's been sitting on the market for so long. And we looked at the photos. We saw the exterior photos, and we also saw the interior photos of like the ceiling has been caved in, the roof has holes in it, all that kind of stuff. Can I just ask you an honest question? Like, you guys got under contract a couple of months ago. What was the...
No. I wasn't involved.
Oh, you weren't. Okay. When did you get into the picture?
I think it was a wholesaler that tried to buy it.
I figured that. I even said that to my student. I said, I have a feeling that was a wholesaler.
Got it. I think a wholesaler got it. And then they just kind of just vanished.
Of course. Well, I'll tell you right now, like, have you run the numbers on what you think? And I just want to have like a professional conversation with you. Have you run the numbers on what you think the renovation is going to be on it?
Yeah, it's probably I would say about 50,000.
I ran the numbers and properties that we're doing with that, with the mold remediation and the foundation issues. I was actually a lot more. I was closer to 80 or 90. So I have a question for you. I obviously would love to present you an offer for your client. Is your client stuck at the 78 mark? Or if I were to come in, and I know you can't tell me over the phone, and obviously don't say that, but if I were to come in closer to 40 or 50, would they even humor that conversation?
No, they probably laugh.
Okay. A quick question. Was this an inherited property? Is this probate? Yeah, inherited. It was inherited. Okay.
Yeah.
What do you think? Like, for me, I'll tell you where my numbers are. If I'm thinking about after repair value for this property, like where I'm coming in at, because the garage was converted into living space and now we don't have a garage anymore, I'm coming in at about maybe 160 as an ARV. Are you coming in around that as well?
I come higher.
What, 180?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so 160 to 180. Okay, all right. So 180, and I'm just running the numbers right now. If I have to get a loan on this, and I'm coming in for 180. I'll even go up to the 185,000. So 185,000 after repair value, and I take away commissions, closing costs, and all that kind of stuff. Going right here, and then I take away roughly $80,000 for the renovation. That brings me to literally exactly your asking price. It brings me to $77,250. So you're spot on, but at that point, there's no profit for me. And if I'm going to be doing, yeah,
I don't think this, you know, your model and what you're wanting to do, I don't think this is a property for you.
okay,
And I'm being honest with you.
sure, I appreciate that. What do you think your client would do? I mean, it's been on the market since November. So, and you came in later down the picture. Like, it's been on 91 days for you, and it was on since November with the previous agent.
And I've added about 60 of those. So I'm good with. I don't have a problem with where it is in terms of the number of days that it's on the market, and I don't think my client is either.
Okay.
Because pretty much. Yeah, I don't think he is. I don't think it's a bother for him.
Got it. Do you know?
I think basically what they're hoping for is somebody who's gonna probably see the property for what it is, what it's worth, and probably, you know, do all the renovations and live there. That's what they're looking for.
Right. I mean, for most people, that's the perfect scenario. But in this,
And that's so. I'm not gonna sit here and try to talk him off of that, and you know, until they decide they want to move or do something different.
yeah,
You know, I'm here to support my client.
they're not living in the property anymore, are they?
No.
Okay. Yeah. I mean, what I'd love to do is if you can, I mean, you probably won't, but if you want to save my number, I will be happy to make a cash offer for your client and make this work for everybody. I just know that. I mean, in an ideal world, yeah, somebody will buy the property and move into the property and fix it up themselves. But have you been in the property yet?
Yeah, a lot of times.
Yeah, it's.
And right now I'm sitting right in front of it. I'm waiting for a dumpster to go finish clear out everything.
Oh, you are clearing stuff out. Okay. I was just gonna say that, like, to find somebody that will be able to move in there and fix it up themselves, probably not likely. And
We won't know until after it's cleared out.
yeah. Okay. Well,
So right now we're talking. We're just talking pie in the sky stuff.
I understand that.
Yeah, it's not done.
Okay.
I mean, once it's done and we kind of strip back, peel back, and see after we get everything out of there, see what's left, then we could have a serious conversation. But for now, we're just kind of like just.
I feel it. Yeah, right now. You guys are still exploring. You're not even like your back isn't against a wall. You guys are still trying out a couple things. Okay.
There's no.
Okay.
And if they were, it would have been gone a long time ago.
I understand that. Okay. All right. So in that case, like I said, save my number if you want. I'm a motivated buyer. I do a lot of flips, and my team is looking for a new project right now. So I'm happy to have that conversation with you guys. So once you get it all cleared out and you get some more ideas, more eyes on it, if it's something that you guys.
But once we get it all cleared out, we'll take inside pictures. We don't have any inside pictures. Right?
Got it. Okay, perfect.
Those are old pictures that you're looking at online.
Yeah, the old ones with like the ceiling falling in and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, that's very old pictures.
Is it not like that anymore?
When we take the pictures, you'll see what it looks
Okay.
like.
Okay. Sounds good. All right. Well, then, like I said, save my number. If you need any help on an offer, I'm happy to be there for you. Okay.
Roger that.
Okay. Thanks, man.
Thank you.
Bye. All right. So, what were your thoughts on that call? Like, what clearly happened there is that the fact that they are spending money on a dumpster right now, it shows me that they are not extremely motivated on selling that property for a discounted price. They're actually motivated to try to make more money from it. So they're probably in their mind thinking, if we get a dumpster and we clear out the whole property, that we should be able to list it for higher than 78. That's going to be their mindset. It's still not going to work. They're still not going to get an offer. But Herbert, in a situation like this, what you would be doing is you'd be setting a follow-up task somewhere on your calendar to follow up and check back in on this property in 30 days.
Okay.
right? You'd follow up with it. You'd see if it has anything changed. Have they uploaded the new photos? Have they changed the price around? And then that's really all you have to do. Okay. So what I'll tell you right now is the conversation that I had with that agent just now, it was not to buy the property. It was to uncover information so you guys can hear questions that I would be asking. But was I correct about it being an inherited property? Yes. Right. So the family that inherited it, the property is owned free and clear. So it's not a rush to sell it. They're not paying a mortgage. If they were paying a mortgage, there'd be a much higher likelihood they would sell for a cash offer. Because now all it is for them is they could sit on this property. What else could happen to this property to make it any worse than it already is? Is it going to get more mold? Right? Like, they're not concerned by it. Right now, to them, as long as they pay their property tax of a few $100 to a few $1,000s a year, they're okay having this property sit there, and they'll sell it a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, because they're not motivated to do so. But if there was a mortgage in place, this would be a different conversation. Okay. So guys,
thank you.
Yeah, absolutely. So we'll wrap it up here. Like I said, Herb, set a reminder for yourself to follow up with this property like 30 days from now. And then, yeah, let me know what else I can do. And I'll see you guys next week. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to, hit me up in the Discord. And by the way, guys, if you're on YouTube right now and you are watching this, we have our private community, which is who I'm talking to right now. Link is down below. If you guys want to join, it's just $1 to join. Check it out. Love to have you guys be part of this community. So thanks, guys.
Awesome. Thank you.
Later. Bye, guys.
Thank you.